I don't know.
Let's do it again.
Oh. Welcome to Imperfect Podcast, where this is the very imperfect podcast.
Yes, it is. All right, let's rip into it again.
What's up, guys?
What? Shut up. Do you remember when you used to say that when I was doing the vlogs?
Nah, I think Landon was the...
Oh, that was Landon,
It was
yeah.
always Landon.
Yeah, but
and,
you were there. Yeah.
Aaron and Toshlin used to do it too. What's
What's
up,
up,
guys? It's your
guys?
boys, Gay G, Horny.
Yeah. I'd be like,
Coming at you live.
God, that's pissing me off. So annoying. All right. Okay, yeah, we are recording.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Imperfect, and I have a very special guest for you guys. But before we jump into it, a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I want you guys to know that we upload to this channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, every single Wednesday. So every Wednesday, you guys can expect an episode. For the next couple of weeks, or maybe a little bit longer than that, I'm going to be uploading new episodes on Mondays as well. So Mondays and Wednesdays, just as of right now, so we can help and continue to grow ourselves in this busy times of everything that's going on. So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to remind you guys of that, tell you guys of that. Also, if you guys want to know about like whoever my guest is, be sure to read the descriptions. And the descriptions of all platforms is a little paragraph kind of talking about what the episode is about, introducing the guest, so you guys can get a feel of who this person is before we even like dive into it. So you don't have to like sit here and watch for 20 minutes to realize this is a podcast you may not like. So if you guys just want to take a quick peek, read the description down below, read that paragraph, get an understanding of who our guest is going to be, then you can know what the episode will be about. Thank you. But jumping into this, we have a very special guest. My fiance, Jaynee Douglas. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I miss you. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Isn't it crazy you walk by the set like literally every day?
Oh,
and here you
every
are.
single day.
Every day.
I half the time I walk in on people. So
I know, right? Like a guest will be talking and their eyes just kind of slowly like look over as you're like coming into their set.
Well,
They're like,
it's usually always locked so they can like hear me unlock it, and
their
then they're
eyes.
just like,
yeah, I
"Who is
love
that?"
it. It's so good. I'm like, yeah, cut. That's too good. That's too good. Well, we're going to talk about a couple of things today, babe. We're going to talk about our wedding. We're going to talk about like support business. And we're going to talk a lot about how we met and some things we learned as a relationship. All that and more. And I'm super excited. I mean, we've been talking about having this on the podcast for a minute. So welcome to Imperfect.
Thank
officially. Man, so let's go into a little bit of like how we met. So this is kind of an intriguing story. So I was dancing at the time. And so we never met officially, right? Like, because you just went to my performances, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, I just went to like some events that we were having, or like the ISU was having, and just to kind of,
Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out because you don't want to like. I mean, you're on a college campus. There's not much to do rather than go to all the ice, you know, the college events and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So me and Tosh,
Your best friend, Natasha.
yeah, my best friend.
But you guys would always pull up to him.
Yeah, so me and her would always go to a bunch of events, just to get out of the house and everything. And yeah, and then we kept seeing this guy that was like dancing all the time, saying, "Oh, follow me here and follow me there." And so both of us had like followed you, just to see what was going on, and
yeah,
just sparked from there.
Isn't that crazy? So how many like shows do you think you went to of me? That I performed at a lot of events at the time.
I know. I no idea. At least probably 5.
So you saw me like a good amount of times.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you were there for some of the most important pieces of my life before we even knew each other. You know, like when I did that dance for my grandma, like that was heavy, and I put a lot of it's crazy too because like behind the scenes here I am putting in all this work that you would have witnessed, but of course we didn't know each other, and then so you just like got to show up to the event. And we're like what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
it
it takes a lot for me to cry.
But
like,
did it hit hard though?
It did.
It
no,
did.
I mean it really did. I mean it had a really good. You had your storyline was so great with it all. So yeah, it was like a really emotional, but
yeah.
It takes me a lot to cry, especially in public.
I know. How many movies we got to see where people died and you don't cry?
I've literally cried in 2 movies.
I know. Isn't 5 Feet Apart?
Oh, well, okay, so that it would be 3 now.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's the one that you've cried with me in public.
Yeah, so 5 Feet Apart, when I was little and I watched Fox and the Hound,
Oh, yeah.
I literally have not been able to watch that movie again. It's too,
yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then
I can't watch that.
there's this older movie that my parents like had, and they're like, oh, it's so cute. It's about a cat and a dog. And I'm like, cool. It's called Milo and Otis. And literally, it is the saddest thing ever because one of them gets like lost. And no, I can't do it.
No, so no crying.
No.
Yeah, so we did. So you did see me a couple of times. So how we did finally start getting to get around each other a little bit more is I was working with Jed Greenhouse, which is, I can't remember what episode, but he was on this show, and we were going to go on tour, and then it got scrapped because of a couple of things. But he was making music, and I was going to be like his head dancer person, right? Mm-hmm. But he lived in the same building as you guys, which of course I didn't even know you because you guys saw me, but I had no idea like who you guys were. I haven't even met you yet. But I remember walking by, and there's this whiteboard outside this door when in the hallway we always passed every single day, and I was like, who, like, when then it, like people would write on it or whatever, I'm like, whose whiteboard, like, where did that idea come from? Like, why do you have a whiteboard for students to write on?
Yeah, before I moved back to Idaho, I was in Florida, and so Tasha, she went to school here for 1 year, and she actually lived in Turner, and she had like the whiteboard on her
really?
door. Yeah, so then when we moved in together, she's like, hey, I'm going to put this on the door. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we can draw on it or other people can draw on it. Like, it'll be all cool. So
that's so cool, though. Because I remember walking by those couple of highs or whatever the heck. But you never got anything weird or too crazy on it? Like, no one drew a penis or anything? Like
no. Because, I mean, I think where we lived, it was a little bit more, I guess, where, like, older people lived.
Right.
And so it wasn't kind of like Turner where it's like your freshman year. Like we lived with like a ton of like seniors and juniors that were like just moving out. So
right. Yeah, so that's crazy though. I remember walking by it and I was like, man, like this board is here like every day. And me and him were walking by to his apartment every single day, and I was like, I'm just gonna like write on it. Do you remember what I wrote?
You had wrote like text me. And then you wrote your like actual phone number on the whiteboard. And I was just like, who would write their phone number on this whiteboard? And you know, even if I was not home, can you imagine how many people would have texted you?
Maybe that's what I wanted. Make some new friends.
Yeah, that would have been, no, I would have never done that.
Right. But you got it. But you know what's even weirder? Did you text it?
I did.
Yes, you did, yo. You totally texted, hey, I'm supposed to text you?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what up? I'm like, you're the girl with the whiteboard, right? And we started talking and chit-chatting. So, but you already follow me on social media, too, because
because of those events where you would be like, oh, like, follow me.
Yeah, follow me on social media.
So, yeah, me and Tasha, like, already followed you, so.
Natasha was following me, too?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that was the peak time, though. That was, like, when I had 12K followers. Now I'm down to, like, 9. Whoops. But that was crazy, though, when you guys followed. That was pretty awesome. But you guys were already following me, and we already texted, too. And so one of the biggest things, though, that really switched it up is me and Jed were upstairs, doing whatever. And we're playing games and, like, working on music, kind of just a mix of everything. And he's like, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. I'm like, cool. And I just hear, Gage? I was like, what? He's like, we're out of toilet paper. Oh my God, you know what's crazy about that? The whole toilet paper shortage right now?
Yes, exactly.
We had a shortage back then, yo.
Oh my gosh.
Toilet paper shortages all the time. But anyways, with that shortage, he was like, yo, we're out of toilet paper. I was like, bro, like, I don't know anybody in this building. Oh, wait a minute. What about that girl? I'm kind of like, we only texted for a minute, but like that girl I texted like a couple weeks ago and they live downstairs. He's like, dude, I need it. It's like, all right, bro. So he's like, text her. I was like, no, I'm not going to text her. I'm going to show up at her door, remember? So I just came downstairs and knocked. I heard scrambling and something going on behind the door. What was happening? Like,
so,
when
like our kitchen table is literally right next to our door. So it was me and Tosh, and then we had a friend over, and her name was also Natasha. And all three of us were just talking and everything, and then we had heard the knock on the door, and we're just like, okay, it was only us three, so who else is, like, coming? And I remember Tosh got up, and she was looking out the little peephole, and she's just like, oh my God, it's that guy. And both of them, like, went running, and they're just like, yo, you have to answer it. Yeah, and I'm just like, why do I have to answer it? Like...
I just started laughing, giggling,
Yeah, they were all
running,
just
something's
laughing.
falling over. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I just remember answering the door, and then they were just like peeking around the corner while we were talking.
God, that was so funny. They're just like slowly, like their eyes. I'm like, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was just like, y'all got some toilet paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I remember giving it to you, and you're just like, "Oh, I'll give it back to
I'll
you."
give it right back.
I'm like, "No, I don't. Just take it. Just take it and leave."
You don't want the used toilet paper. We're just gonna take a couple strips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. You can just keep it.
That was so funny, yo. But yeah, so I took it upstairs and gave it to Jed, all was well. All was well at that point. But like, if he did not ask for toilet paper, that was our first one-on-one.
Yeah.
That was the first time we talked in person. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But
how it all like ended up, it was.
Yeah, that was insane. But dude, like, think about like, this is crazy thinking about like this whole shortage situation now, because this is what people need to be doing. If somebody comes to your door, give them toilet paper, yo. Support people, yo. You didn't have to, but you're like, here you go. And I was like, not all heroes wear capes. Like, you know, like ran upstairs, gave it to Jed, and all was well. But that was good. That was like, that's a crazy first time to meet over our friends pooping and toilet paper. Like, what if you guys weren't there? Like, oh, okay, well, like,
I know.
we would have wiped to something else and never would have, not anymore, because we texted for a little bit. Like, we're like, oh my God, this is funny, haha, and then we stopped. Found me on social media, never really engaged, and then it just kind of died down until that toilet paper incident. But it's crazy how that can literally, like, one instance can, like, change the course of our lives. Like, that is so crazy, because then, like, that whole incident happened. Don't talk for, like, another week, but then, like, I texted you earlier that day, said something, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm here, but my internet wasn't working, remember? And you're like, hey, if you want to, like, swing by, and I was really, like, 2 blocks away. I was like, why not? You know, like, I'm just going to go to this random girl's house, hang out, do some homework. And then, oh my gosh, that was fun. But that was the moment we realized how compatible we really were in so many different ways. Like, remember? Because I was like, dude, I love Mountain Dew. And you're like, I got a 24-pack. I was like, bro. And then you gave me Mountain Dew, and then we talked about, what was the next thing?
Our lucky number.
Our lucky number. Yeah, 23.
How it's like in all of our passwords.
Yeah, I was on like Bingo Web or something, putting in like 23, and then Natasha's mouth just drops. I'm like, what? And she's like, that Jaynee uses that for all of her passwords. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
23, which, by the way, is the number of this podcast. Yo, let's go. That was not planned. Yes, it was. But yeah, so
gosh.
23 is our lucky number. And then what else do we have in common? We both played video games. You're talking about how you and your dad got new remotes for the Xbox, and so many things were like.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing though, it was like right when you had got your Mini Cooper.
Oh yeah.
And Mini Coopers are like my dream car.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then you like let me drive it, and oh my gosh, it was
you
crazy.
killed it. Not like actually killed it. You killed it, and like you did awesome. Like, so that was our first like unofficial date, because it was just hanging out alone, because we hung out so many times before that. With Natasha, but that was our first time like hanging out just us. And we went in the parking lot, and you drove, and you did it like well. My grandpa Alan literally took me for 3.5 hours into a parking lot, and I did not know how to drive it even at that point. Drive the clutch, killed it. Drive the clutch, killed it. Jaynee's like a little bit of rough, and then boom, like 2 minutes in, she's like driving all around, flipping. I'm like, bruh.
That's because I'm a good driver.
Jeez, but that was legit though, and it was even crazier too that you're like, I wanted a Mini Cooper forever, and here I am pulling up in a new Mini Cooper.
I have ever since like it was probably like middle school. I want to say I watched this movie.
Is it the one with all the
Mini Coopers? The
Italian Job?
The Italian Job, yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched that movie, and ever since then, I would always tell my mom, I'm like, that's the car I want, like in
crazy.
Light blue, like that's what I want.
It
was crazy.
That was pretty crazy. Ours was cream, but it was still pretty legit. Right around, it felt good. Like, I loved that little thing until it got water damage, but whatever. But yeah, riding that Mini Cooper around was a lot of fun. I enjoyed just like us hanging out for the first time, because what I really loved too is like, because it was me, you, and your friend Natasha. You guys were best friends. You're always hanging out, and then I had my best friend Landon. And then after 10, 15 times we're hanging out, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna bring my friend over. Like, oh yeah. And then literally for a year and a half, it was just the 4 of us. Every time we went out and ate, we studied together, we watched movies together, we played board games together, all 4 of us. We had like nothing like dating wise, like nothing. We didn't do anything. We were like legit just friends.
Yeah.
For a long time.
That's crazy. All those like YouTube videos that we used to do, like that
Oh
shocking
man,
one.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All the little vlogs. They're still
Yeah.
online. Go find them. But yeah, we were just friends. So like that was kind of crazy because like, you know, just kind of jump into this next segment is how like how we perceive relationships to be, you know, and who our perfect woman and or guy is going to be, and how they're going to look like, and how they're going to act. Like I grew up for so long thinking like, just like you know, you watch the movies and you believe like what society is like. You're gonna find this person, you're gonna fall in love, and it's gonna be absolutely perfect. Like you're gonna have one argument, but you're gonna overcome it, and all it will be well, and you run off in the sunset. The end. Like that. You have that idea built into your head like for so long, even though like you're not conscious of it, subconsciously. Like, oh, like she's not pretty enough. Oh, she's not smart enough. Oh, she doesn't like video games. Like you start picking like, I can't date her because of X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm telling you to this day, like the number one thing that really attracts me, and the very first time I even became woke about it was with you, was being adaptable. If you are able to adapt to each other, like you love hiking, I love video games. Instead of like, oh, she hikes too much, it's over, it'll never work out. No, you were like, yo, like I like video games too. I'm like, well, actually, I like being out. Like we find those level grounds. Like let's go hiking half the time and play video games the other half time, and then we can do what we both love to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
I think it's really good to adapt, not only in like your relationship, but like with your families and like your friends, because then you can really understand what they think from what you think, and then it'll just better your friendship.
Exactly.
To the extreme. So.
Because like how we like officially started dating, we were friends for 2 years at this point when we actually started dating, and you brought up like, hey, like we should date, and I was like, no, you remember that?
Yes.
I still feel like shit. I almost missed out on one of the best opportunities. Not trying to be cheesy here, but seriously though, like you're a hella great woman. So at that time though, and you're like, hey, let's date or whatever, I was just like, no, and we pushed it for like 3 days, like seriously, like realize. And that was the first time that you woke me up, that like you said something like, like we're best friends. We do everything together. We have fun all the time. Like this is what you should be looking for, something like along those lines, right? And I was like, wow. And that was the first time that what this show idolizes, what everything idolizes, is I was able to pull myself out of my body. And that is hard. In all situations, you don't just do it one and done. Like you have to do that consistently. And it is hard to pull yourself out of your situation, out of your way of thinking, and analyze how you're acting. And I was able to be like, wow, like why do I think this? It's because like, and I started analyzing, because the media that I consume teaches me this. Instagram, the perfect, like all these things that are like forcing me to believe this one vision, and that's not real. In reality, what you need is someone that you're going to spend the rest of your like a whole days with. Yeah. Oh, like I want the perfect girl that's going to like, we're going to have sex, blah, 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 blah. Why worry about 30 minutes of your day compared to like the next 23 and a half hours of your day? Like
Right.
Worry about that, the happiness, how you're going to live together, how you're going to be happy together, how you're going to have fun together. Like I just never thought about it. I was so focused on this, boyfriend, girlfriend, consumer relationship. That's it. Like your boyfriend, girlfriend, you do sexual things, you spend time with each other, you move on. Like gaming is just for the boys, going shopping is just for the girls. You never cross those worlds. You just do your boyfriend, girlfriend thing, marriage, and then that's it. But you were like, yo, like, no, like it should be this way. Like you should be friends and care about the person you love and want to hang out with this person and play video games and involve them in everything and in most things that you do, so you can actually spend that time together but have fun with the person you love.
Yeah. I think it's a lot harder, just like you said, growing up with this, with all these movies around saying, oh, this is like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to meet some random person, and then you guys are just going to fall in love. You're going to have this one huge argument, and then everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And, it's not like that. And I think that's why a lot of people say, like, high school relationships don't work out, is because, you have your clique, and then this other, group has this clique, and you can be like, oh, like, I like this guy. And then they start dating because they feel, mutual attraction. And then they're like, oh, like, I don't do this. I don't like this. Like, we have nothing in common. Like, I don't even know what to talk to you about.
Exactly.
And then it just gets awkward, and then they just, part ways. And I think that's how a lot of relations, like early relationships are.
Yeah.
Is just kind of like, oh, hi. And then,
You just jump
there's no,
into it.
there's no communication. And then it just gets boring, and that leads to the lying and the cheating and everything else.
Because you're not honest. Like, every relationship I've ever had before you has been like that. I never, like, maybe one out of like 50, 60, 70 like dating cases or whatever, probably even 100. Like, you like me and you kind of talk or whatever, you move on. But every time it was always like right off the bat, like, oh, I like you, like, and you like them because mainly on their attraction or XYZ, and then you learn more and more about who they are, and really, like, you don't know like how they act in heavy situations, and that's a big thing you don't know. Like, you have to hang out with someone for a minute to really understand, like, like, oh, like, I don't, they say I don't drink, but I just drink occasionally, but that occasionally they have like wasted, make out with 10 guys at the bar, like, it's bad. Like, they, like, there's things you don't know until you get to know them.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's good to, have, start a relationship with someone who's like your best friend, because then you spend all this time with them already, you know them. I mean, they always say that once you move in with someone, like, you really know someone, but
True.
yeah. But I mean, I think that it's really good to just start off being friends first and then moving into a relationship, because then you really know how it's going to be like for the rest of your life if this person is the one you're gonna marry. And I mean, that's the end game anyway.
Exactly. Like, we looked at, because like that 2 years we were friends, we were legit just friends. Like, the most like, we never did anything, never like acted anything. The worst we did is, like, you saw my butt that one time, do you remember?
Yeah,
I got in your, like, was it like booty shorts or something?
I think it was booty shorts.
Yeah, because it was like the four of us hanging out, and like I saw him, and I like came out the room and like looking all stupid. I was like shaking my you guys, like, what the fuck? Like, you guys can't just sit for 3 minutes without getting stupid.
Yeah.
But like that you saw me, and that besides that, it was all just friends until that moment when you're like, hey, we should date. And that's when I was like going through that phase of, like, like, she's like my best friend, and like, this is weird, and that's like not what I pictured, blah 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 blah. Like, I just had this ideology in my head, and it's fucked up to say, but that's who I was at that time.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand, but because of you, I was able to pull myself out. I'm like, holy shit, there's this amazing woman that we've never fought. Like, we've already talked about a lot of things we believe differently, but we never fought. Like, we were always on the same page, and we were like already working together, like understanding each other. Like, we had so much already built: video games, love, kindness, treating each other. We had a lot of similar goals. Like, it was all on the right path, right then and there. And I wanted to turn that down because of this perfect relationship that I'm supposed to idolize. That's never gonna happen. But you were like, after what, 3-4 days? I know. But finally, though, I was like, let's do it. And then we went on our first real official like date. Nothing happened, but but that was good though. That was good.
No, I think it was really good. Just because, he had been friends for so long, and like I said, I had already like always had an attraction towards you. I mean, you can ask Tasha. Like, me and her were always like, oh, like, look at him, and I'm like, yeah.
Look at him. I was nice and skinny back then. Yeah, that's good though. Like, and like, of course, like I think it is like I had attraction as any 20-year-old I was at the time Mel would have towards women, but like the biggest goal is like I was like having so much fun with you, like it never like crossed my mind.
Yeah,
and that was my like it was just like Jaynee's like my best friend. Like, I hang out with her, like, we have fun together. We watch Game of Thrones. We do all these things together, like, and then separate, like, I was out chasing girls or doing whatever the hell I was doing at the time, but I never focused on, like, that wake-up call, like, holy shit, like, your best friend is the person that you should try to be marrying, like, the person that you should try to be with for the rest of your life, because why, like, yeah, I can game with the boys, and yeah, you need time with the boys, right? But it's so nice to be like, babe, E3 is happening. And you're like, oh my God, they're going to announce a new thing. And I'm like, this is why I love you. And then we can all do a whole guys and girls trip down to E3 and look, you know what I'm saying? Like, do all those kind of fun things that get us inside of it. And like doing it together rather than having such different lives. Like, our best friendship, our relationship, our friends are all engaged. We're all like just this big group of like togetherness / fun,
Yeah. No, I think it makes it a lot better to just, have a lot of common interests. And that way it's not, oh, I'm going to go do this because you don't like it. And I'm going to go do this because you don't like this. And then it's like we never spend any time together.
Exactly. Yep, I agree 1,000%. It's crazy. But leading away from like how we met, I mean, we were best friends for 2 years. We've been dating 2 years now, right?
Um, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. But now we're getting married. Isn't that crazy? Like we'll known each other for like 5 years by the time we get married. Like that's insane to me. You know.
Yeah, I know.
So that's gonna be cool. But talking about let's jump into those weddings because a couple of things that like I think we should discuss that like a lot of people there's a lot of conversation around this that people are like really one sided. Like why would you spend so much on your wedding? And not do like XYZ, and the other people are like, no, like it's a one-time thing, and like this X amount of money is not a lot of money for a wedding, right?
Yeah. So I think just to start out, like me and you were definitely like, oh, we're not gonna spend that much money on our wedding. We're gonna use it all for our honeymoon because
that's how we exactly started.
You know, but I think that's how everybody wants it to go, and then you start learning prices and what you want. And what you need, and you're just like, oh, this is going to cost, so much more than what I thought it was, to where I'm not going to have all that money. And, I think our big thing is that we're such family-oriented people that we want to include everybody. We want all of our family there, all of our friends, everybody that we just, like, met. We want everybody there. Like, we don't care who it is, and, we want them to have a good time.
Yeah.
And, that at the end of it gets more expensive as it goes on.
Yeah, so that was like our original thinking was try to keep it cheap but include everybody. And remember, originally we were talking about families' houses, like backyards. We're talking about like Grandpa Allen's, before we even like asked anybody, just kind of conceptually thinking like, what if we had it here? But like, Grandpa's like that's not gonna fit more than 20 cars.
Yeah.
And a lot of our people are old, they cannot walk up that hill. Okay, what about this person's house? It could, but parking was gonna be a huge issue. Huge issue. Plus, like, if you play music and neighbors, there's so much that could, like, just go wrong that it's like, okay, we need a venue. That's what landed us on, like, okay, we're going to get a venue. That was our first place. We're going to get it cheap. Remember, we went to, like, nearly everybody in town, and there was, like, one or two that were already booked, but everybody else was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
They were, like, some were, like, $2,700 for a night, and that was a little bit of average, and we're like, I'm talking to some other places, and we found like a nice one, but they were booked. So like I said, we had a couple that were booked on our date. We weren't like afraid to change our date, but there was a lot of things with family, like we had to choose like that time frame. So especially with us moving, and but we chose a local venue that is going to be really awesome. They were going to do $900. I was like, this is it. This is a cool G. It's kind of a lot, but like $900 that way. They have close parking. They're also a hotel, so they can actually house people. People might be drinking. A lot of family and friends drink, so people can stay there and not drink and drive. People are going to be flying in. They said they're going to give all of our family and friends discounts, so they can stay there, walk literally right out, go there. They don't have to leave at 10, 11 o'clock and find their new place to stay. Like, it's all on the same spot. I'm like, okay, $900, this is worth it. Right, because we're talking 200-ish people.
Yeah.
So like, and that's, I mean, we probably invited like more than 200, but we're planning on probably 200-ish because people bring extras, some people don't come. It's all up in the air, but around 200 people. So I'm like, this is gonna be perfect. We don't have to worry about music. We don't have to be being loud. We don't have to worry about anything. Like it's all like in the same spot, ceremony, like it's all right here. So that was our first big thing, and we booked it. All done, all good to go. But then the food.
Yeah, so I think that was our biggest thing.
Expense.
Yeah, is because we're just like, oh, like we'll just cater, like we'll just get someone. We were like finding prices. I'm like, man, this is expensive.
I was like, I swear it was a lot cheaper than like what people are saying. Like, remember I did a Chinese place. I did like Costa Vida.
Yeah,
I
like
did
we did
Subway.
so many places, and
they
we're
were
just
all
like
in the thousands.
Yeah, at least, if
and I'm
not
like,
more.
This is insane.
Yeah,
like, this
so
is crazy.
I think our biggest thing was like, oh, like let's just go to like Albertsons or like Costco, get some like little things and just put it in there, and we're good to go.
Yeah, but what went wrong is they changed a lot of hotels are changing their way of food because they've had so many. If someone brings food there that may make people sick or something, or like has something in it, or who knows, God knows what. But if something goes bad, that's on the venue because they're hosting the event, and even it just gets really complex. So a lot of hotels, not even them, but a lot of them were just like, we're not allowing outside food anymore. Like you have to get from us. We're like, dang it. Well, that sucks because we already booked them and we're already on the thing. We're like, how much do you guys? Remember originally for like their cheapest plate at the time, it was going to be like $3,000. I'm like, bro, please work with us.
Yeah.
I was like, what about chicken, like mashed potatoes, like something super simple, like 3 things, like chicken, mashed potatoes, a drink, like something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, what can you do for us? And they even came up with actually even a better meal, but we got it down to like 1,800. That's still a lot of money.
It is a lot of money because once you think about it, I mean, that was just the venue and then the food, and then we had to have the photographer, the videographer.
Yeah. We'll get there, but with the $1,800, it was still a conversation of, is it worth it? Like, do we not feed people at our wedding? Or do we like, hey, like maybe make an hour for our wedding? Because I mean, there's food places nearby. It's a hotel, so they can go over there and eat. But like, how is it to have like so much of our family flying in and be like, we don't have food for you guys. Go next door.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people were telling us like, oh, you don't have to have food. Like people are just there to like,
Support you guys.
Yeah, but it's like, I personally have never been to a wedding that doesn't have food.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not a bad thing because like I said, like if you don't have food, I mean, you don't have food. Like I would still go to your wedding.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing is like,
it's nice icebreaker.
Yeah. Well, and we wanted to have such like a long day. Like, I mean, we're starting our ceremony at 4.
Yeah.
And then, we don't have to get out until after like a little bit after 11. So it's like that amount of time frame, it's like to have people leave, they're just gonna be like, oh, like especially if they have to leave and like eat fast food, then they're just like, oh, like I want to go home and like sleep.
That's 7 hours.
Yeah, so it's a long time, and it's just like, it's nice to just have something there that they can eat, and then desserts and stuff, and then have drinks and then the partying and the DJ and everything. So it's nice to just continue on the party all day.
Yeah. So what we did decide to do the $1,800 worth of food. Like I said, they wouldn't let us bring food and snacks because we're gonna do like fried chicken or burgers.
Yeah.
First of all, they won't let you grill. Like won't even let, and just grilling that amount of food. But let alone that, like it's just like no. But what's really nice is by having them do it, because they are doing it, they're going to make the food, prep the food, bring out the food, take care of all the plates, make sure all the seats are done, clean up all the food when it's done, come around, take plates that are all, we get like a full service.
Yeah.
That's awesome, but still, that is a lot of money. So we did lean towards it, but like you said, like it's just something that I feel like all weddings have. I mean, I've shot 40 weddings to date, if not a couple more now, and every single wedding has had food. I think I've had 1 or 2 weddings that had snacks. A couple like LDS weddings that like there's a shorter because like after the temple thing they go to the reception and they just have some like snacks, but they still have like little like one with Subway and they just have little Subway sandwiches that you can but you have to like I said, everyone has food. So I think it was just kind of like we're gonna do it, And before I even jump further too, like just to kind of like announce this is like I want to put this in perspective again, pulling yourself out of someone else's situation is. People spend money way differently than you. You know what I'm saying? Like a wedding to us is important. Some people it is. Like I just want to get married in the court, go there, pay $60 to like do the thing and then bounce and then go have a great honeymoon. That's great, right? Like people have a perspective of where they want to spend their money. Like when I get my $300 check, I might be buying some skins on Fortnite. That's someone else's last things they want to do. Mom, she probably likes going out getting a coffee every day before work. I don't get coffee. I've never bought coffee before work. I don't like coffee. But those things add up. People spend their money completely differently. When someone hears, you're spending this much money on a wedding, that's ridiculous. Grandma, you spent $50,000 on a car. Like, come on. I would never buy, unless it was a Tesla, a $50,000 car. But for real, though, like, people have it differently, right?
Yeah.
People, people have $1 million homes. I would not have that big of a home unless I had that much income. Obviously, maybe you might be spending that much, but like that housing and things like that's on my low list. I'd rather have a nice home, but be able to travel more. That's my big thing. I want to be able to travel. I want to invest more into better equipment to be able to shoot bigger things and do more short films. People have different places where they want to spend their money, right? Like people, I just want to like throw that out there because people like just hear a number and they don't think about themselves. And I'm like, like you have to You have to pull yourself out of the situation and see what you're spending money on compared to somebody else, because people spend their money completely differently. Like us. Like, we like to eat out. We should eat at home more for health reasons, but we do love, like, with homework, school, working, you working 2 jobs, me working, doing the business, just friend time, a relationship time, those kind of things, whatever. But when you add that all in, like, it's a lot of time. We just like to stop by, get some food, and come home and watch a show, right? That's for us. Some people like to just eat at home and save that money so they can buy a, $20,000-$30,000 camper, or, like other people that we know that have $10,000-$15,000 boats. I don't want a boat. In fact, I think a boat's probably gonna be the last recreational thing I would ever buy. Like, I don't know. Like, boating is, I hate boats. I feel like I'd drown.
Yeah. Well, I have like motion sickness, so I don't think I'd be on a boat that often.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, even rides get you messed up.
Yeah.
But you see my point. Like, I just want to, again, this is imperfect. Like, I want you all to realize that. Like, just think about your own personal lives and someone else, how they spend their money. Well, do you see Jesse just bought this? It's like, well, maybe Jesse likes that. Maybe that's what they like to do it. Now, I understand you can get pissed when you have millionaires buying 10 cars and 5 houses and this and that, and you're like, all right. But, like, when you're, like, in the working class area and you want to buy and spend your money on different things, like, that's totally okay. Like, you totally, again, I know people that have no pets. They don't want to put that money expense on there. They'd rather go do other things. I love pets. I would love to actually, like, build, like, a room for the cats to, like, have, like, their litter box and, like, things on the wall so they can climb up and down, like, I just want to mention this because, like, when we talk about our wedding, I think that's a first reaction we get. And I've done that too. I'm not saying that I don't, but, like, realizing that and trying to change that about yourselves and your perspective, like, I think that's very important. Is how I'd like to spend my money is way differently than you would like to spend your money. So please keep that in mind. You with me? I just wanted to say this little rant because it's very, very important that you don't just judge someone because of X, Y, and Z. It's very, very easy because you naturally and selfishly, we kind of have this thing where we want it all. Like, I want a $20,000 boat. I want a $40,000 camper too, and I want $1 million home, and I want all the animals in the world. You can't. You can't have it all, right? So it's very easy to realize what you want because, like, someone else can be like, yo, I got a $10,000 car. I'm like, dude, good for you. I have a $1,000 board and I'm just as happy because that's where I want to spend my money. I'd rather not spend money on a car where the vast majority of the world would like to. It's a rant for sure. But do you agree though? Or would you disagree?
No, yeah, I agree with everything you said.
But it could have been said shorter. Well, shit. Oh, well, I'm sorry. But I just want to put that in perspective, continuing to our wedding. So, like, to us, this is something that we want. Because, obviously, we're trying to make this shit last for the rest of our lives. We want our relationship to last. We're going to try to make our relationship last. And we're going to be the best us we can be to make that happen. So, with that being said, we want our wedding to be a good date. Again, we want it to be cheaper. But here we are with our venue because of the parking situation. One of the biggest situations. And then people coming in and where they're going to stay. And they're going to give all of them discounts. It helps a lot of people. $900. Food. That was a very hard decision. That I could still see people would disagree with. And even though, like, a part of me is like, it's still a lot of money. What we agreed on makes sense. It makes the most sense to accommodate everybody. We're going to have food. So like I said, $1,800 there. Double than our venue. That's crazy. Because that's how they make their money too, right? Mm. Now let's talk about a photographer.
Oh, the photographer.
How do you feel about that?
Actually, I feel like we got a really good deal on our photographer. Did. So,
so like, what I love about not just photographer, but like all of the people, like since I'm working weddings a lot, I know a lot of the DJs, videographers, photographers.
Yeah. And I think what's nice is that I've actually met the photographer and the videographer. Yeah. And I think that's that's amazing because then, like, when they're, like, having a camera shoved in my face, I can be like, oh, I know Travis. You. Yeah, instead of this random person, I'm just like, I'm a very awkward person. I don't talk that much, so it's just like, please stay away from me unless I know you. Like,
but that's exactly. I agree 1,000% too. But because like it's good that I know them, so that way like they're able to like give me discounts. Like it's like hey, like me, like let's work up a deal like type thing. If I didn't, it would be more expensive because we were shopping around for some photographers and they were starting $2,000, $2,500. I was like, whew, that's hot. But we knew this awesome girl that just raised her prices shortly after us. Thank you. But she was also on the podcast. Michaela, shout out to you. But she's going to be our wedding photographer. And I am so excited because she is great. She's fantastic. She's ahead of the game. And she's still in college too. But it's like she is doing awesome. But that was about $1,000. And that was one of those things like every wedding has a photographer. You know? That was just kind of like like if we're going to spend money on a venue and these things and friends and family all coming in that you probably won't see for a long, like a lot of our family lives Iowa, Illinois, Arizona, Florida, where else, like all over Idaho. Yeah, they were everywhere. So to get a photographer and capture all those moments, that was just a neat deal. But videographer, now this one we kind of discussed for a minute. I do wedding videography. Should we have someone shoot me at our wedding?
I think it was like a no-brainer. It was kind of just like I do this, so I should probably have somebody do this.
That's the thing. It was like just that discussion of like I do video, so if I don't have a wedding videographer at my wedding and someone's like, hey, like when I'm like at which happens often, by the way, like I'll be like talking to someone and like about to book them or whatever, and we're all just kind of chit-chatting. Who's shooting your wedding? And if I was like, oh, nobody. Why? Oh, I couldn't afford it. It's too crazy. They're like, why should we book you? Like, if you, a wedding videographer, don't think that you need a wedding video, why should we? How do you even tell somebody that as a business?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do it yourself, how do you have somebody else? Like, you have to own a business that you're passionate about and do yourself to get other people to come on board, right? So I was like you said, no brainer. We have to. Like, we have to have a wedding videographer. Now, how much? And where we're going to go. Thank the Lord, the guy that I've been working with all my dance videos and everything I've been working with for a long time is going to hook us up. Kind of. Yes, but no. He normally, as of now, and I think his prices have gone up, but it's about $2,500. But he hooked us up with $2,300. So a couple $100 off. Which, for some reason, I feel like videographers are less inclined to give some discounts sometimes. Like I do a lot, but a lot of videographers I know don't really do discounts, but I do know a lot of photographers that do. So it's kind of weird. But it was just like cool in general for him to hook us up. But now we're getting like the best of the best. Like him around here, he's really good. Like, I mean, you met him. Like, yeah, remember one of my dance videos? You were in it as friends, and that's when we were just hanging out too. You remember?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I love Travis. He's really good at what he does too.
It's
so
very fantastic.
I think we'll have a really good video from him for sure.
And there's a couple of points. So like talking about the money again, there's a couple of points this one does. It solves like, okay, the videographer area. Like I'm a videographer, I should probably have somebody solves that. Of course, genuinely, we want a wedding video to look back on, obviously. Like, I do it for a living. It's awesome. I think it's absolutely needed. To hear someone's voice that you can't see in a picture, like, it's worth it. Seeing someone to give their speeches, their vows, especially when people bring their animals. I recently shot a wedding for someone that I recorded their dog coming down the aisle, and it was the not, ring bear, like, all that stuff. He passed away. You know, and like to see her like sharing the video online, like I just am so happy to like to see him moving in like the cinematic way. Like it finally hit me like, wow, like this really means a lot to somebody.
Yeah,
like this is life-changing thing. So that for that reason, what a wedding video. And then lastly, a big up to Travis. You know, we worked with Travis. You know him, I know him. We've worked together. You were in that film with me. Like there were so many ways that it's just like, you know, like I like Travis. We grew up together. We've known each other for a long time, worked together a long. It's kind of like, you know, Travis, you deserve this.
Yeah.
So, let's go. So, photographer, videographer, not DJ, but venue and food. But now DJ. Do we have a DJ? Or do we just put our music on shuffle? I like these white people right now.
I fought hard for the DJ because I wanted a DJ. I didn't want the whole let's just put some music on and just shuffle it. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I've been to weddings and yeah, like they're nice because you still have like the music playing and everything's nice, but like a DJ just makes it like so much better. I feel like, you know, he's so much more engaged with everybody.
He's getting people on their feet.
Yeah.
Keeps them on the dance floor.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he just keeps it going. And, you know, you could have 20 million songs on shuffle and you know, people are like, oh, like I hate this song. And
Yeah.
like, oh, why would they be playing
That's
this
the
song right
biggest
now?
reason you have a DJ is because they can read the room. If
Yeah.
like people are trying to like slow dance and they get a vibe for it, boom, the next track slow dance. Everyone starts slow, and then like he sees people like trying to hit, like everyone's on the floor, and he's like, this is the time to hit a banger. So he
Yeah.
puts on like Cupid Shuffle or something, and then that's when y'all like get down with it. Also, like the fun things like when you do like the games, like the back to back. You know, you're doing like the shoe
Yeah.
game. We're gonna do a couple other little games, but also to have someone that kind of like, this is like my favorite part, is to have someone like round somebody up. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, everybody get ready, go back. They're about to eat their cake. Everybody go back. Like, it's time to eat. Everybody, the ceremony, when you finish, please pick up your chairs. Go. Like, we don't have to do that because our venue's pretty cool. They're taking care of all that stuff. But have that person to kind of engage. Our cat's just staring at you viciously
I
right
know.
now.
I was just like,
He's
hello.
like, you are in my seat.
Yep.
And because
I
of these
am.
hairy dudes, I have to cover up the chairs after every podcast, so they don't hairy up these chairs. The little turds, aren't they? But yeah, like so that was like a big reason for the DJs to have somebody to read the room, keep everything going on track, and keep it smooth. You know, because like that's another thing you don't want to stress about. Like giving your phone to your little brother is not a good idea. He's all playing like something like, who knows, like I can't even think, but some rapper or something, and you're like, bruh, like
Yeah.
So that came together, but that I know him. We worked together a couple of times. He normally charges a little bit over 1,000, but we got him for 900. So here we are. We started at a nice, what was it? A nice, cool. We want to try to keep it cheap, and now I think we, all in all, and with everything put together, about $8,000. $8,000 for one wedding day, including just everything. There's a couple little things out there. There's more discounts inside of those things, but also like your dress, like all that stuff came up to like $8,000.
Yeah.
And
because we also got to add in, you know, flowers, all the attire that we have to wear.
But that's all in the 8,000.
Yeah.
Yes. We got the attire, the guys, like our rings. We got cheap rings. We got cheap dress. We got cheap everything we can. Cheap flowers. We have someone else make them. Like we got everything else that we could on the cheap end.
Yeah.
And that's what like, again, like the money thing, like when we're talking to people and they're like, and that's when I'm talking to people, especially like my wedding clients, the ones I'm close with. I'm like, how much are you spending on your wedding if you don't mind me asking? Or friends, or like our photographer, and talking to all them. You know, ours about 12, 13,000, other people 15, and I'm like, I swear to God, out of all the weddings that I've shot, besides the people I haven't asked, but out of the 10 or 11 that I did ask and know numbers for sure, they were all like above $10,000-$12,000.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, this is insane. They're like, yeah, we had to cut this. I'm using my mom's wedding dress. Like they had to cut the ways that they possibly could to keep it that low. Like people don't understand how expensive this is in general. Like it's just crazy. Because again, that whole conversation of this is going to be $10,000, like that's a lot of money, but like comparing it to how much people actually spend, it's a lot, but it is cheap. Me and you worked tirelessly to find those outfits, find places that carry this cheaper, find someone to do the flowers, hit up everybody that I know and have worked with to try to cut us a little bit of a discount in their things, but you don't want to undercut them because it's what they do. And we ended up with $8,000. But you feel confident though, right? Into our wedding?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like we made some really good choices in like who we picked, and you know, like how my mom and my grandma are gonna start doing like the flowers and everything. I think what we did, it was really good. And yeah, I think if anything bad happens, it'll be something so small that we won't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think all the big things are taken care of where, like I said, we have everything all done and we can kind of just do our thing throughout the day, you know, and just kind of relax, try to be there as much as we can and enjoy it. But now, how is the 8 months we spent planning for our wedding?
Yeah, now the 8 months that we spent planning, I mean, it's been really difficult just because, you know, we might not have our wedding on the exact day that we planned it. And different things might coincide with all of that. But, I mean, I think the big thing is that, yeah, like, it seems like such a big thing, especially for, like, brides. Like, it's like, man, like this is my day, like, you know. But at the same time, like there's so many people dying like around the world right now, and I think that we have to think about that more than just one day that's going to be like the best day for us, you know what I mean? Because we can move it to any other day, and it'll be fine. But yeah, like I said, I mean, we really got to worry about what other people are going through right now, not just like our little problem. Because it's like in my head, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst thing ever that's happened to me. But then I got to realize, like, you know, that people are dying, that, you know, people have it way worse than me right now. Like, I currently still have a job right now. Like, people don't even have jobs. They don't have money to support their like families and everything. And it's getting really bad.
I agree 1,000%. You said it better than I think I ever could, because like this, it's serious. This whole thing is so serious. And we think about our perspectives, like, you know, my trip got canceled. I can't do this. I can't do that. But like, I'd rather lose any trip and change any date, do whatever I have to do, than lose someone. You know, like that's the ultimate pain in this
exactly.
life, you know? So postponing it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. But, you know, talking from our perspective, though, our perspective, how this is affected, you know, like you said, 8 months planning, and now our wedding is going to be most likely postponed. We'll see how things go within the next 30 days. But isn't it crazy how it affects you?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I think it's crazy how it affects like each individual person. Like, it's not just, oh, here's a virus and it's killing people. It's like, oh, you know, we have to stay home. Like, people are losing their jobs. Unemployment is happening right now.
can't find a job, can't buy a
Yeah,
house.
I
Like,
mean, it's so difficult right now to do anything. Find groceries is even like
yeah,
difficult. I was talking to this girl the other day who had to go to 3 different stores just to find groceries just for her household, just so
dang.
that she could have groceries for a week. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Man is trying to go out there and purchase buy, panic buy, get everything, and then they don't think about like the other people, you know, like I said, like us eating. First of all, we already like eating out, but now it's even more of an excuse to eat out, because like there's 2 of us. It's much easier anyways for us to just stay home, do our Uber Eats, our DoorDash, just drive down the street, get, you know, a couple of the restaurants that we have, get food and come home, you know, especially right now. And then we don't have to worry about buying all the food and things like that. Yeah, we go and get like a thing of milk, you know, some cereal, but the least amount of groceries we can buy for others that really do need it, that really do have families to support. And like, that's totally fine. Yeah, we'll bite into our budget a bit more, but it's still like, we get to eat, we get to help with that little bit. You know, it's just like those small, very little ways you can kind of help people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no.
and then we were just talking about buying bidets. Like, we don't need toilet paper. If we can afford a $100 bidet, might as well use that. And then everybody else can, you know, get their toilet paper. It just sucks that the toilet paper we're trying to save for people, other people are going and buying like crazy.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like a no-win situation.
Seriously. So our wedding's affected, but now let's talk about, as college students, how this coronavirus has affected us.
Yeah, so we're not going to graduate. Well, I mean, we're going to graduate, but we won't have like our
We
commencement.
won't walk. I mean, I've been going to school here for 6 years, and walking is like, it's like you didn't really know you really cared for it. It's like, that's how a lot of things are. And there's a lot of things you have that you just think twice for, like toilet paper, and you don't think about it. It's kind of like the Got Milk campaign. Like, nobody really knew what, like, cared about milk, and then that campaign like got milk. Like, it's like you don't really care until you realize you don't have it, then you care, you know. And it's like same thing with the toilet paper. It's like, man, like I need it. But now graduation is like, man, I really can't walk with all my friends and family that have supported me these 6 years walk across the stage. So again, it sucks, but for the safety of everybody, like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, I really, really am. And I know Idaho State specifically is going to do something, and no, they can't replace it, right? But they're going to do something, you know, to help us, you know. Like, I don't know if it's going to be online. I don't know if, you know, there might be talk of us walking next year. I wouldn't mind that, come back a year later, or even the winter graduation, come back and walk. Like, I wouldn't mind. It's still that moment of graduation, you know. Like,
yeah, and I think that like a lot of people, like, there's been like news articles that like it's not just like Idaho State. Like, there's other colleges that like are not going to be walking. And I just read through all the comments, and all these people are just so angry at it all, and they're just like, no, like, how can they take this away from me and all this and that? But it's like,
Right.
I mean, you got to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You got to look at the bigger picture of it's not just about you. Like it's about
The
you know
protection.
all those groups, that huge group of people that's going to be there. Like, I mean, Idaho State's smaller, but can you imagine those bigger colleges with all of these people
Thousands and
graduating?
thousands.
And yeah, like, I mean, a lot of people have grandparents who want to come and see it, or older people who this is more affecting, with, of course, deathly causes. And it's just like, how can you be so selfish to just be like, oh my God, like, this is the worst thing ever? And it's just like, no, like, yeah, it's bad. Like, I mean, it sucks. But at the same time, like, you got to look at it in other people's perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point is, if as college students, it's like, this is kind of what we dream of, the graduation, these things. I know we look forward to it all year round, but you got to realize, like, you're not the only one making a sacrifice. So many of us are. And like you said, many more people worse than us. They're making some serious sacrifices right now. So let's just be a part of that people that help. But this virus has affected us, through graduation. But let's talk like the three things like we talked about. We work, live, and go to school on campus. And so, like, it's weird because the first thing was, you're doing online school now. We're like, whoa, that's crazy. So like now we got a 2-week break. Now we're doing all of our classes online, which is weird. Like video, it's like we have to be there for video production.
Yeah.
Math, I don't know how. It's going to be interesting. But like, what about geology? Has your professor said anything of like?
I mean, mainly he's just been like, hey, we're going to use, because we use Top Hat. And he's just like, hey, we're still going to be using Top Hat, but we're also going to be using Zoom for the video.
Zoom.
Yeah. And I think it's going to still be like the same time frame. Like, you have to get on at the same time that he's on to watch the full lecture to get, credit, because he take like 15% of our grade is just like attendance.
Yeah.
So it's like, he'll probably take attendance at the end through like the Top Hat thing, and all this and that. But to get that attendance code, you have to be online and watching it, and it's only open for so long. So that's probably how it's going to go. But I have no idea like how we'll do tests and stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because we do it through Top Hat, but at the same time, like, it's not open. It's not supposed to be open book or, open notes.
It might be like that. Was it proximity exam you did once? Remember, like, you have to show your whole room with the camera live with the guy and scan your area.
Like the
it's like
the proctored
exam.
Yeah, proctored exam.
Might be something like that.
I really hope not.
Yeah, I know. That's anxiety when someone watches you taking a test.
Yeah, just through like your webcam, just
yeah.
Like,
so
man, I gotta like itch my face, and this lady's just gonna be like, "What is she doing?"
Like, she's cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit intense. It's gonna be kind of weird how we kind of phase through everything, but everything being online, we're gonna have to adapt, and our professors definitely have to adapt and see. But here we are at home, because like you said, work, live, and go to school on campus. That's just school. Now we both work at the campus we're going to, and this has both affected us. Now, like you said, I'm grateful though, because I get to work from home, which is awesome, and like thank you, because I was scared. It's been up in the air for a minute if they're just gonna kind of be like, sorry, and thank the Lord that I can edit, because I do video production for my college, so I can edit from home. So that's awesome. But with you, they, working at a place, they're gonna shut it down, but they're gonna let you clean, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I work at a daycare, and they're gonna be closing it for like 2 weeks. But we just found out that like all the staff can like come in and like deep clean everything. Mm-hmm. That way we still get our hours, I guess. And being a college student, like, you can only work so many hours anyway.
Yeah.
So that adds up pretty fast, actually, if you think about it. So, but yeah, we'll be open from like 8 to 4 and just every day just cleaning.
But that's good though. So at least you got to work. It's not doing the fun thing, playing with kids anymore.
Yeah, it's not the ideal situation, but at the same time, it's just like
you're getting your hours.
Yeah, I still have a job.
Yes.
So
I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
That's good though. But it is, now we're working from home, or at least changing our work style as you are, and then living as we're seeing all the colleges around us are changing. You know, we've been not idolizing, we've been following Boise State and a lot of the things they're doing, and then now they just kicked everyone out of their residence halls. And
Yeah, by like March 26th, I
mm-hmm.
think.
So here we are. And I'm scared too because we got an email from Idaho State University, we got an email from Idaho State University Housing, and then we got a letter at our door, all encouraging us to leave campus. They have not forced us yet, but they have encouraged us.
And I think like like an easier thing is like a lot of people who like come here for college, like they have like a permanent home, but a lot of people who live like where we live, this is our permanent home right now until, you know, we graduate and we move out. So I think it's a lot harder for like everybody who lives here. I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen like one person move out of where we live right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just scary because it's like, you know, if an outbreak happens right now, like we're all screwed in this, you know, place that we live.
Yeah, and the place we live is more meant for like juniors and seniors. All the other places that are like freshmen, sophomores, they're just like it's easy for them to move back with their parents, which we can too. But we're at a situation where, you know, we have cats, which is going to be a big issue with all of our family. All of our family have dogs and stuff, so it's going to be that'd be just very difficult. Let alone, I don't know how like that would still work because even though I'm working online, there's going to be some video things I have to do around campus. So I can't move out of the city. I have to be around. It's going to be kind of interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And if they'll actually kick us out.
Because it's crazy because, like, yeah, kicking us out, like, affects us, like, you know, extremely. But then it also affects people out because it's like if we have, like, a week to move out, like, you know, we have to move into someone else's house and just be like, hi, and just take over their lives, too, and, like, affect them.
And that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
And finding, like we said, we looked at apartments just around here. They're not very good. Or they're super expensive.
Yeah.
It's an issue. It's an issue. So we're just going to have to, you know, this is just kind of planning ahead. We'll just have to see what happens. Thank God, though, we do have a lot of family in town that probably could take us in at least until we got our own place. So that I'm thankful for that. Hella thankful because there's people that are like international students and people that are like, dude, I got to get home. And like, I don't have, they're like, hey, you like, especially up in Boise State, imagine the international students or people that live in different states. They're like, you have like 2 weeks or a week to move out and back home, which is like, how do I even come up with that money that quick?
Yeah, exactly.
And to move and do all those things. Like it's scary. That's really scary. And that's what I'm really scared about us is if they're going to kick us out. Like we haven't had any word yet, but it's kind of just a day by day basis to see how everything happens. But again, you know, we'll do whatever we have to do to help the general. I mean, if they think it's healthier and better for us, then we're going to have to do it. But, you know, moving in with grandparents, like all that's a no-no because I don't want to go out and, you know, it's just like, that's the thing is like, you don't want to move out of our apartment and then move in with more people, which gets 8 of us together for one of us to get sick and boom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. So it's super crazy. So being a college student, just seeing how this has affected us. I mean, no graduation, online schooling, working from home, or a lot of places on campus have just been like, you're kind of done for now. No jobs at all. Thank God we work in departments that are thankful that they can give us some more work. And then just graduation, and it's a lot. Like it's kind of a lot. It just happens so quick that it, you know, it's just so hard to kind of adapt and try to work everything around because all of us, even the professors, even our bosses are all just kind of like, just we'll work things as it goes type thing, you know, because it's so quickly changing that we have to adapt. And so it's a little scary because like I said, we think we're in a good position with family and friends and help, that I know that if something happened, we will have help. But a lot of people, like a lot of friends, I'm just thinking, like, I have so many international friends. And I'm just like, what are they doing right now?
I know.
And they live in residence halls, which I'm sure if shuts down, it's going to be residence halls before the apartments or duplexes on campus. So that's a little sketch. I don't know how they're going to handle that whole situation.
I have no idea. I mean, when I think about it, it's like, you know, it seems so awful, but it's like we have it like so much better than other people right now. Like, you know, like we live in a place where, you know, you have family that we could easily get to, you know, and a lot of people that could help us move if we had to move. Like we have it so much easier than all these other people do right now.
Yeah, we really do. We really do. That's why you got to be like thankful and you got to be helping as much as I can. Like we were talking earlier about if we got that check, who we would donate some of the money to, because like, yeah, we need money, especially how our hours are getting cut a bit, but we still do have jobs. We're still working a little bit, But, if we could donate something back, I don't know. It's just like always being self-conscious and self-aware of what you're doing and how to help back in any and every way you possibly can. Like at all times, at all levels of life. You know what I'm saying? So, Miss Douglas, that's everything I have for you. You can go upstairs now. No, seriously, babe. Thank you so much for coming on. Anytime. We'll be back once our wedding crashes and burns. I love you. Thank you all so much for watching. No?
I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the